¿Cómo andamos? Aquí estamos. Primero que nada, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí conmigo hoy, que estamos haciendo la primera grabación. Ese es el opener, se puede decir, de la Positiva Podcast. Le quiero dar muchas gracias a mi compadre Fry, que viene siendo el productor, es el mero mero de todo lo que viene siendo todo el podcasting que tenemos, y a todo el equipo behind it, Mechudo, Georgie. También quiero darle un saludo cordialmente a los compas de Casa Humilde y felicidades para ellos en su cervecería que acaban de abrir ahí en Forest Park. Pero para este podcast, la Pura Positiva o la Positiva Podcast, estamos hablando de puro cafecito, puro café. Casa Humilde Coffee Roasters, to be exact. You can order your coffee. You could be on their monthly plan. You could be on packages. You know, they got two different types. Así de cualquier cosita en Casa Humilde, cerveza y también café. Así es de que muchas gracias para la familia López, como siempre, apoyando por aquí en todo lo que es los podcastings que hacemos aquí en Aguacate. Ahora sí que se va a llamar Aguacate Podcast Network, creo. Para mi compa Friday, saludos. Hoy tenemos, para empezar lo que viene siendo la Positiva Podcast, alguien que hemos querido traer a los otros aparte de que we call him the day one, he's el mejor mediocampista slash immigration lawyer que conocemos, buen amigo de muchos años, y más que nada hoy viene aquí para platicar de las cosas informarles de las cosas que puede ayudar a ustedes, a mí, a toda la gente que está viendo, todo lo que necesitan ayuda con lo que es inmigración, cualquier pregunta de inmigración. Él nos va a ayudar hoy a contestar y a platicar más cositas y historias de todo lo que él ha pasado en el transcurso de su carrera y poder hablar y tratar de ayudar a toda la gente que necesita cualquier tipo de ayuda y cualquier tipo de duda que tenga con inmigración. Aquí está el mero mero, mi compa, un buen amigo, mi compa Xavier Borjas, compadre.
Thank you, brother.
How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother.
We're good with Spanglish. We're good with that?
Yeah.
All right.
We're good with both.
Saludcita más que nada. Salud.
Salud.
Empezando.
Gracias.
Congrats. You're my first guest, brother.
It's an honor, brother.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It's a real honor, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. First of all, I'll start it off by saying thank you for your full support with the Guac Pod, man. You're one of the main reasons, along with all of our friends, sponsor friends, that, Guac Pod is what it is now as far as, our capacity, our audience, and we thank you, bro.
No,
Deep down, we thank you guys.
Thank you, man. And honestly, likewise, bro. Thank you for the support. Same way, man. I've always the love has always been reciprocated. So, thank you, man. And for me, the childhood connection that we've had, and with the families.
Yep.
Anything I can do to support you guys, I'm always
I appreciate it, man. It goes a long way, bro, for sure. I mean, look at where we're at now.
I know.
New studio y todo el pedo. Hey, Javi, you know what, today, the whole La Positiva, para la gente que esté viendo, obviamente por primera vez, I'm going to do these more informative podcasts. You are my first guest. You're an immigration lawyer. Ahorita nos platicas un poquito de tus credentials, how long you've been doing it, where'd you go to school, how you fell into this path, más que nada, right? Because, if I remember 13-year-old Xavier Borjas, I would have imagined you were going to be an immigration lawyer, bro, to be honest, right? But I don't know how it went about, man, but, talk to us a little bit how you fell here and how it went about.
It's been a whirlwind, bro. It's funny because I think that, you talk about 13-year-old me, even 15-year-old me. I have like my interns, my employees. I always tell them, like, man, I was wild, man. I was crazy back then. I think for me, if I really had to be honest, I think it was one of those things that my story is my story, but at the end of the day, for me, it was just God. It was just God's will, God's plan. So for me, that's probably the simple answer. But my story in and of itself, I mean, it's a whirlwind, bro. I went from wanting to be a doctor. Well, I went from probably wanting to be a professional soccer player. That was probably my key thing.
That was the first love, right?
Yeah, not knowing anything else. I didn't have a plan B, plan C. Like, my passion was being a professional soccer player. And then from there, when that fell through, or kind of fell through, my backup plan became becoming a doctor, a medical doctor. So that was my plan then, and then that kind of fell through, and then next thing you know, I went into to law. And so it's been a whirlwind. But looking back at it now, and especially what I do working with immigrants, and working specifically in immigration and representing immigrants across the world, the one thing that I feel like we all have in common that I can relate to with them is even though I was born here as a United States citizen, I was raised by immigrants.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm assuming you probably were first
Correct.
generation as well. So
Yep.
you were raised by immigrants. All these people that are coming here today, even though they're here, they may be thinking my child is going to have a better life or more opportunities, which may be the case. But they're raising people that or children that they're inexperienced. This is a whole new different country, right? This is a completely different society, different way of living, different way of doing things. And I love that. That's what I feel like I have come to really appreciate and enjoy
Yeah.
about this community, man.
Plus, I imagine that it's like very, like you just said, it's very relatable, right? Like people come to you, with almost a similar story from like your background or our parents, perdidos, scared, confused.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you were trying to be a doctor, like that sounds like a little bit of a like from doctor to lawyer, that's a little bit of a swing, right? Like
For sure.
So how did that happen, or if you don't? If you
I think that I remember when we did the podcast the first time when Puros Compas, and I said something that during the recording I said I think it was probably because of the prestige. I don't know if you remember that the prestige, the title of being an attorney, and I meant that. But I remember afterwards when we wrapped up,
you were thinking about it?
I think even Bart brought it up. He was like, you know what? He was like, I was shocked that you said prestige. He almost kind of said a little bit disappointed, but he understood, like no judgment. And I thought about that, bro, and I thought about it for a long time, man. Probably up to today, and it's been a couple years.
Right,
Probably, right?
yeah, it has been.
Like it's always been one of those things because I'm like
damn.
I didn't lie. Like
Right.
I wasn't lying. I'm always trying to be as honest as I possibly can.
Uh-huh.
So I wasn't lying, but it also didn't feel like it was the complete story. And so I really kind of like been meditating on it, praying on it, and just like, what did I mean by that? And I think for me, when I wanted to become a doctor, it came from a place of my grandfather, when I was 17 years old, passed away.
Okay.
And so when he passed away, I was wrapping up high school. I was going into college. And as a result of that, I remember that was the first big loss that I experienced. And I was like, I want to be able to help my family. So in my mind, it was, I want to, help my family with medicine. Like, how can I have them survive and live,
longer?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my thing. And but I sucked in sciences, man. Like I just, you know what I mean? Like I struggled, man.
Like I want to do that, but that's a lot of work.
And then, at 17 years old, 18 years old, the thing that came with that, with me telling people that I want to become a doctor, like I did all the pre-med prerequisites during my undergrad.
Okay.
So I was in it.
You were going in that direction.
I was going in that direction.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was doing. Everyone knew. People would ask me, "What's your major?" I would tell them I was doing psychology, but I'm trying to do pre-med. I'm trying to go to medicine. And so I'm announcing that. So everyone's like, okay. So you have friends that knew that. You have my family that knew that. And a lot of my family members would always introduce me as, this is, Xavier, this is my nephew, or this is whatever, and he's going to be the first doctor in the family. And so I felt that pressure. And so when I was graduating from undergrad, and I was like, man, this is not working out for me, bro. Like, this is not something that I really feel like I can do, or like I really feel like connected to. And I took a step back, graduated, but took a step back and started I got married, had a baby, and started living a little bit. Mm-hmm. I did social work for a while, and then, started, raising a family, started creating bills. And so next thing you know, I'm just doing the social work thing, which was an amazing experience because I think that helped me with my legal field. But then when next thing you know, the years passed, I'm 26, 27 years old, and I'm like, man, what am I doing? I have a little girl, my wife, and, I'm like, what am I going to do in my life? Am I going to go back to medical school, or what's the plan? And so I remember I don't know if it was self-induced, but I remember feeling like I disappointed people around me. I remember feeling like I disappointed my family. Like I was supposed to be this doctor, and then I'm not coming through with this. I'm not complying with what I told everybody I was going to be. And, now I'm just like this, almost a disappointment. And so I think in my head, I was like, what can I do that's kind of there? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
In
gonna
my,
have
at
like
least
the
in my mind,
same.
right?
Yeah.
At least in my mind. And so I checked, what the requirements for being an attorney were, and I was like, okay, this seems a little bit more doable. It's a lot less years than going back into medical school and trying that. I probably won't be a doctor until now, like at this age.
Right.
And so I kind of got into that, and it started flowing. But that was a struggle too, man.
But you didn't have any initial
None.
interest in legal.
I hated attorneys.
Yeah.
I absolutely hated attorneys, bro. Like growing up, having myself, experiencing attorneys, having family experience attorneys. I despise attorneys, bro. I thought that they were, from where I come from, especially as an first generation immigrant. I was just like, the rumors. I hated them. I thought they were scumbags.
Right.
Anyone that was pre-law when I was doing pre-medicine, I was like, "Ah,
You judged
you're
them
just
right
one of,
away.
of course, you're
Yeah.
just one of them." And so and especially immigration attorneys, bro.
That's like a little bit of a stigma too, right? Like within the Mexican culture, like
Yeah.
right away it's like no, ese abogado no,
Yeah.
like.
And I get it. Yeah, and I understand. But yeah,
Can you
growing up,
elaborate on that? Like when you say I get it, what does that mean? Like, is there really bad malpractice from some of these attorneys out there as far as immigration goes, or?
as a colleague, it's hard for me to say that.
Right.
Because it's almost as if I asked you, are there really bad hosts out there?
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I'm in that position to judge.
I understand.
And I would like to think and give my colleagues that are
benefit of the
attorneys,
doubt and
of
everything.
course,
Correct.
of course. So I really hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
But at least growing up, it was always, I felt like it was just the bare minimum. It was just the bare minimum. And so now that I've become an attorney, and this isn't for me to, as a plug. I mean, I'm trying to be as sincere as possible. I'll pour my heart out.
That's all I want. brother.
For me, I tell a lot of my clients this when they ask me a very direct or very specific questions, depending on their age and depending on where we're at. It's like, okay, I respond to them as, okay, well, if you were my mom, like, what would I really say to you right now? Like, what really would I recommend to you right now? Or if you were my sister, if you were my brother, knowing what I know based on my experiences, what am I really going to tell you right now? Like, how can we really, establish this or, or handle this case or whatever the case?
Right.
How can I legally, ethically, like, really guide you so you can do things by the book, and then do things at to the best of qualities as possible.
Correct.
And so me growing up, I don't know if I saw that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I really truly felt that with other attorneys. I don't know if I really felt like people were giving, my family members their all, And so when you hear these things, especially even now as an attorney, and you look back and reflect on previous experiences that, whether they were direct or whether indirect, and you hear these things, it's like, sometimes it is heartbreaking. Because you're like, man, this guy didn't do, this woman or this man, like, maybe he or she did not do the best that they possibly could. You know what I mean? Was that really the best? I don't know.
And I mean, I imagine, obviously, we just go based off, at least I do, based off stuff that we've watched, right? We have seen a lot of missed things and, crime and stuff like that. The lawyers didn't do their due diligence, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's got to be some that, pasa, it goes through, and they don't do everything that they're supposed to do. I like the fact that you say that you put yourself in a position where you think about what would I tell my family if that was my family member, because I think that kind of gives you a lot of accountability as to how you're going to answer their questions and their doubts, right?
Yeah. Not only just how am I going to answer them, but how am I going to, I have to review every single case that's under my name. And so I'm going to sign off on that. And I understand the life of an attorney, bro. It can be a very busy life. You have questions coming from everywhere, text messages, people's cousins, people's friends. Everybody wants that free advice. Everybody wants, that it's nonstop.
Right.
And I have to file these cases, and I have to, get these things moving along. And it's not just about the income, right? It's everything that comes with the income as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a business, so yeah, you want the business, but you also want to be able to produce. And there's a responsibility there. So when I get that case and when I'm about to file and review, there are times that I want to legit just be like, oh man, is it good enough? Like, it'll pass. But if I'm tired, or if I know I half-assed it, And even if the client's like putting that pressure, like, come on, man, it's been, it's been a couple of days, or it's been a week already, like,
Right.
I'll still say, you know what, I'm sorry. Like, I'll give that client a call and be like, listen, man, just give me a couple more days. Like, I'm gonna review it, but I want to be in my right state of mind. When I sign this off, I'm not gonna look back and be like, wow, what if I would have done this, or
Yeah.
what if I would have done that? You know what I mean? And it's the same mentality. I think I may have started developing that mentality when I went to law school, because, bro, I was older. I was older, and I had a family. I had a wife and a kid. So I go into law school, broke, no money. Like, I had to literally, this was, put all my chips in there, bro. Like, I had everything on this. I
All
had
or nothing on that.
I had no, bro. For my first year of law school, me and my family, we slept on the floor. 8 blankets, bro. We would just, my daughter was like 5, 6 years old. We would just put the blankets up there. I couldn't afford a bed. I had 3, 4 cups, mugs, 3, 4 plates, 4 spoons.
The necessity, pretty much.
No TV.
Yeah.
We used to watch. We didn't have furniture, so we used to watch I had a little iPad that I had a few years back, and we used to watch it together. That's whenever we could, we would watch a movie there.
Right.
And so I knew, I was like, man, I'm not gonna half-ass this, man. Like, if I don't make it, and if I fail, it's not gonna be because I was partying. It's not gonna be because I was too tired. It's not gonna be because of all of those excuses. I had to go in that with, this is all or nothing. If I didn't make it, it wasn't because it wasn't my best. It was
Right.
because I tried my best, and that best just, unfortunately, wasn't meant to be, or whatever the case.
Right. Right.
And so that's kind of how I try to do all of my cases at this point, man.
And
Like,
how many years now have you been actively doing this?
actively with my license, I think since 2019, so
Okay.
about 5 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Congrats. And you have your own practice.
I
your
do.
Own plates and everything.
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been good, man. It's been a whirlwind. It was not an easy road. It's probably been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, not just with law school, but even just the business. You know what I mean? Like the insecurities that have come up. Before we started this, you were talking about, you remember the 13-year-old, real cocky and just kind of like sangron. I don't feel like that's me anymore.
Right.
Not that I still have I'm sure I still have some of that in me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that all of going to law school, all of going, my practice and everything, even though I may not appear that way, or I definitely don't want to show that, but I think this is probably the most insecure I've ever been in anything I've ever done in my life. Which, as a result of my insecurity, I used to see it as a bad thing. It's like, why are you so insecure about this? Why are you constantly questioning yourself? Why are you constantly questioning what you do? If you're good enough, it's almost daily, bro. Like, it's almost daily. But I feel like as a result of that insecurity, it makes me work harder, so that I know that no matter who I go up against, no matter what I do, I can't say that I'm the best, because it's unfair to like really compare myself to the rest of people that I don't know and have never met. But I know that I can compete with the best.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because of the work ethic, because I know what I'm capable of doing. I know I'm so insecure about myself that I have to put in the work. That's the only thing that can overcome, or that can compensate for my insecurity right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
I get it. I mean, it's borderline. Sometimes do you find yourself like even not making up stuff in your head, but enough to give you enough motivation to do things, even though you have it covered?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
like,
yeah.
You know what? I think I did. You did it, but you're just insecure, or at least want to think that it is, so that you can go back and just cross the T's and dot the I's, kind of thing.
I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of interns that have been coming up lately.
Okay.
And a lot of them are undergrad, and they're trying to see if they want to become attorneys, or they know they want to become attorneys, and so they want to, just check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to guide them, and even if I don't guide them, as much as I'd like to, we're busy, they're busy, but I'm an open book. I try to be an open book with them. So whatever I'm thinking, if I'm processing a case mentally, I let them know, like, this is what I'm thinking. This is legally, this is what I'm looking at. This is and also just on a personal level, like, this is what I'm feeling. There's been times where, I'll go up to a couple of interns. I'm stressed, about to go to court. It's going to be a very difficult. I might get chewed out. I might look like an idiot. And I go to my interns and say, listen, man, if you guys want to witness this, I may be a hero today, but I may get chewed out. I may look like a complete fucking idiot in front of this judge. And it's not because of lack of preparation, but because this is a complex issue. And I know that it can, the judge may not be happy with what we're going through. So if you want to see and witness how I'm going to handle that, like, come and check it out. And they'll see. And they'll see me in what I do in that raw moment, whether it goes south, whether it goes this way, but they're watching me and seeing how I'm, trying
Your reaction.
my
everything.
reaction, every single little bit of it. So that's been really cool with the interns, man. I really have enjoyed that aspect of it and just trying to, help them out and really be just
Well,
as
you're
raw as
giving them
possible.
that hands-on, real-time, like real chewing you out, like and then your reaction towards that, like you said, negative or positive, they have to know, or they're witnessing how it's going to
Yeah.
go about. But with all this stuff with the immigrants coming through, like how does that work on the attorneys end? Are you guys getting a whole bunch of business because they come and ask you, what to do next, and how important also, like a two-part, how important also is, like, the presidential race at the end of the year,
Yeah.
where all these laws, how much attention should be paying attention to this part on the immigration?
At least for me, I think it's massive.
Yeah.
Especially for the immigrants. It's hard, man. It's hard. Like in terms of business, I get that a lot, man. Everyone's always like, man, this is probably good business. This is probably a good time.
Yeah.
It is like for me, I feel like we do get a lot of business and we are busy, but at the same time, I don't think it's because there's all these immigrants coming in.
Right.
I think it's more so because of the work that we put in and the work ethic that we have and the quality of work that's starting to produce the business. So I don't think it's just because people are coming in.
Right.
And they're paying, right? Like these are it's a business, so it's like these are paying clients and they're coming in with nothing.
Right.
So it's not that easy for someone to just come in and be like, here, I'm just gonna
Here's
give
this
you
money.
exactly.
Sign me up.
Right. Like,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
has this amount of money or who has that? So from a business perspective, having people come at the border doesn't, in and of itself, in my opinion, mean that you're just
That
gonna
you're
have
going
all
to be suing with
right,
business,
right.
correct?
But you do have a lot of people, at least from the way I handle it. Every attorney is different. The way I handle it is you do have a lot of people that are coming in that don't know, and so you're coming in to they don't know the language, they don't know the system. People think that they came in, they got a credible fear interview, and they think, oh, I just got past asylum, when they just got a credible fear interview, which is the bare minimum to be able to go into the next step for asylum. And they'll just be like, oh, I'm good. Like, I get to stay here forever, when
When they're-
they don't. Like,
Legally, no.
right.
Right.
Like, there's still more, and they think that they're good. So for me, it's not necessarily the business that I focus on. It's more so just taking the time to really inform these people, man. Like, really taking the time to go out to their communities, go out to the churches that they attend, go out to the schools that their kids attend, and just give them that advice, man. Like, I don't go and give bare minimum advice. I try to go and give the most general, right? Because I can't give full legal advice. Ethically, it's not. I can't, right? Like, if I
Yeah.
give you legal advice and it doesn't work out, you can come back and say, well, this guy told me to do that. So I don't want to put myself in that situation. I can't put myself in that situation. But I can give general advice based on my knowledge and expertise. And so that's what I try to do for a lot of these people. In terms of the elections, that's hard, man, because I don't know what it would be like, now, but what I can tell you from my experience, it was very stressful when, like, Trump was in office in comparison to when Obama was in office, at least as an immigration attorney. It really did feel like not only the climate of the government, the attitude and the climate of working with the government, working with the court, working with ICE. I felt like when Obama was there, it was a certain climate, it was a certain attitude. It seemed amicable, and then when Trump came in, it just almost felt like that all went out the door. It just felt like it was very combative, and
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah. And then when Biden came in, it resorted back to the way it was with Obama. Like, it was just like, I'm speaking to officers, they're cordial again, and not across the board, not everyone, but it
Yeah, yeah,
just really felt, at least from my personal and humble opinion, it really did feel like the climate had changed, just
yeah.
like that.
As far as like the moods and the
Yeah,
vibes
one
and
hundred
everything.
percent, one
Yeah.
hundred percent. So it'll be interesting to see, who wins and how that goes, and if that
And
goes
what
back
ends
to
up
them.
happening.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, it's just a rumor, right? But I thought I had heard or read something about where they're thinking of making all the people that crossed over, which is millions, I believe, like automatic citizen or something like that. I mean, I don't know how much truth that is, but I did see something along those lines where
yeah.
they're thinking about it. Um,
To be honest with you, I haven't seen that, so
yeah.
I don't know what was read, what article, where.
Hmm.
Um, what I would say is this: I would be really surprised. Like that would shock me,
Yeah, me too.
right? As an immigration attorney, that
Pretty
as based
drastic,
on my
right?
yeah, based on my experience, based on how I truly feel like I understand the system, the immigration system,
Right.
and then also knowing the history of all the years previous, right? Like even back to like Ellis Island, like understanding the history and understanding where we're at now and today, that would be like a one in a million, right?
It'll be
That
shocking.
it would be a miracle,
Yeah.
basically. Like that. I know I understand that people are hopeful and I understand that people are gonna say things like that. But I not because I'm pessimistic, but I think that I'm trying to be realistic.
Right.
And I always tell my clients as well, like even people that aren't clients, just potential new clients, when we have that consultation, I don't want to give you false hope, man. Like that to me is false hope.
Yeah.
To come in and then automatically have status, that to me is a false, in my opinion, false hope and possibly a false narrative. And I would be really shocked if that would
Right.
actually happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's drastic for sure. I mean, at the end of the game, it's all political as well, right? Like I don't know
Yeah.
what will happen, but what do you consider being with the experience that you have? What do you consider is one of the biggest like rumors or stigmas that we are as a culture tied down to be in a way scared to reach out to immigration lawyers? I know there's a lot of like no quiero ir porque I'm probably gonna get deported or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, is there something that you would love to clear up and that you get a lot that's like false more than anything?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot, man. I think that the my biggest one, if I had to, would be that cheaper is the better way to go.
Okay.
Like I think that that's probably the biggest, the biggest falsehood out there, man. Because you have a lot of immigration can appear to be as if you're just filling out forms.
Okay.
It can really much have that vibe. And in fact, when I first started in immigration, I think I came into it thinking like this is gonna be easy, man. Like I'm just filling out forms. This is no big deal. But when you start understanding the complexity of this, the complexity of the laws, like in my humble opinion, like these laws, these are the 1997 laws, and we're in 2024. So it's been implemented for some time. These laws are just being polished, man. These laws are just being challenged. Like there are so many policies, so many regulations, so many, you know, laws that are unclear right now. That as a result of that, like it's just starting to really make sense. Like we're just starting to get the ball rolling, in my opinion. This is just happening for me. It feels like live. Like this is now. We're in it right now. That it's gonna potentially, you know, I don't know, affect the future and hopefully in a positive way, right? Like the way whatever happens now is gonna really drastically impact the future, man. Future immigrants, like because it's happening right now, in my opinion. And so, going into it with these are just forms, or these are just simple questions, or just do this or do that, and then
Yeah.
you're good. I think going into it with that mentality, can you get by? Yeah, man. If you're lucky, you can get by. Like you can get by, and but since Trump, since the Trump administration, they really tightened up the screws, man. They really realized that it was a very, very lax system, and people were getting by. Like you did have people that did have criminal records that were renewing their green cards with no problem. Like people didn't understand that, and this was actually happening. So since the Trump administration, they did stop that. They realized, at the very least, it was exposed that the immigration system was pretty much broken, very, very lax. It was easy to commit fraud. It was easy to misrepresent. It was easy to do all these things that were negative. And so the good thing, at least that I saw from that, from what had happened, was that at the very least it tightened up the screws. And for me, it also kind of, those that are just doing it to half-ass it, and those that are just doing it just to make a buck, hopefully they just start, weeding
They
them
kind of
out,
filter
man.
them
Yeah,
out,
like,
right?
get them out, man, because now you really do need to, invest in someone that does understand and know the laws, and especially, stay up to date because they're constantly changing right now.
Damn. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know it. Like, I mean, that just sounds to me like before it was, like you said, the people that were making a quick buck, half-assing it, was just like writing off, even though they knew it was not supposed to go through, but it was going through.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And now, I mean, people were traveling, so you had, I've had plenty of people that, they were in their 60s, 70s right now, been lawful permanent residents for 30, 40, 50 years, and they would try to renew their case. They would try to renew their green card because it was going to expire before, and they would commit crimes since 96, 97, 2000, 2001, and they're like, man, I already renewed it like, twice, sometimes prior.
Jesus.
And they're like, no problem. And now when they want to renew it, it's like, no, because you're hearing this. You're understanding, like, these people are getting placed in removal proceedings, man. Like, these people are starting to get deported. If you travel,
I was going to ask you that. So what would happen to these people that were not getting renewed? Do they get deported then?
they'll get placed in proceedings.
Okay.
Yeah. They'll get placed in proceedings. So you can't just get deported if you're a lawful permanent resident. And even in the general sense, like, you can't just, I'm going to pick you up and get you out.
And take you out, right.
It's generally you would get, your day in court. You would be placed in removal proceedings, get processed, and then kind of go to see, do you qualify for a benefit or not. But it wouldn't just be like that. But again, now, even just to travel, that person that has specific crimes under their belt that could make them ineligible or put them at risk, you put that, you renew that green card. Well, guess what? Now you place yourself at risk. Now they can go to your door, they can go to your house. Or if you travel outside and you try to come back in, now they're gonna say, oh, you know what? This guy has all these crimes. Like, let's remove him, or let's put him in this procedure. It's not like the way it was before, man. And so I think that misconception of, I'm just gonna pay this person or this unlicensed person, this notario or whatever, which I'm not hating on that. I would never recommend that. But I think that you're gonna put yourself at risk, man.
That's
Especially now.
yeah. Especially now. They're not gonna, that's not going to go through.
And then you have a lot of these guys, even notarios that you hear, you hear these rumors that you have a lot of these guys that are so, they are focused on a policy that they think, like, this is what they think the standard should be, and so they're guiding them. I've heard these where they're guiding people, immigrants, to do things that is unnecessary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is unnecessary. That not only is it not necessary to get whatever benefit that they want to prove, but then they're putting them at risk. That if for lying on something so minuscule, now you misrepresented. Now you have another bar against you. Now you did put yourself at risk for something. You know what I mean? But because of their policy, or their own self-made policy of, like, oh, they like to see this or put this, or they like to think this or put that. Again, I think that we're in a different time, and it's happening right now, in my opinion.
Take me, if you don't mind, bro, just because my lack of knowledge on this, subject, and I'm very ignorant to it. But what is the process right nowadays? Like, they walk in there, they're trying to, get their things in order. I mean, what is the process to go through the whole, procedure of getting, I don't know, what is your green card, your immigration status?
That's a loaded question, just because it
depends on a lot of factors,
does,
I imagine.
It does, but I think to break it down as simplest as I possibly can, you have affirmative and you have defensive. So you have you have some applications that you can file when you are not in removal proceedings. So that means the government is not trying to deport you. You are not in the system. You're not in any system. You can file an application based on your own voluntary will, and you are willingly putting yourself in the system now. And that could be a family-based petition. That could be a humanitarian-based petition or application. So you have that. And then you have the other one, which is defensive, which you have no choice. Like now the government is trying to deport you. And so under those circumstances, you either defend yourself, present something that you think you might qualify, or you will get deported.
Okay.
So the process is going to be very different from affirmative as opposed to defensive.
Correct.
If you're defensive, that means you got stopped for some reason, or you presented yourself at the border, and now they're processing you. Now they're going to put you in the court system with immigration court. They're going to, have you go in front of the court, in front of the judge. The judge is going to read you your rights and responsibilities. Then you're going to have the responsibility to present some sort of application or some form of relief that you think you're eligible for. And then you go through it. You try that, see what happens. If you get it approved, maybe you get a benefit. If you don't, then you get an order of removal. And then you have, procedures after that.
Right.
Possible appeals. On the affirmative side, it's now you're presenting something. You are saying, hey, I think I'm eligible for this. I think I'm eligible for a green card based on my marriage to a U.S. citizen or whatever it may be. Or I was a victim of a crime, and so now I'm presenting that. And then that's more, it's affirmative, so you're not in court. Now you're going through officers, trained, they're supposed to be trained officers, supervisors, attorneys that understand the process, the legal process, and they'll review those things and make sure that the applicant actually complies legally for the benefit that they're seeking.
Okay.
So it's going to depend on that.
Yeah, it depends on that.
If that's the simplest way, I think
the
two main ones are going to be your affirmative, which is usually with USCIS, and then you're going to have your defensive, which is with the immigration court.
Okay.
You have a bunch of agencies, though, man. A bunch of agencies. You have ICE, CBP. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot. But the two main ones that most people are going to deal with are those two agencies.
And now earlier you had said the biggest maybe misconception is cheaper is better. In a ballpark figure, something, this process, what is a price range for something like this? Just for everybody to know,
Yeah, man, it depends. I think that I can say what my price range is, and everyone's gonna have their own.
Right.
I think for a humanitarian or a humanitarian application or a marriage-based application, something that's affirmative, that's not in court.
Correct.
It can range anywhere from $2,500, $3,500, $4,500 to $5,500. And then if you need waivers and stuff like that, depending on how complex it is, it can go all the way up to $8,500.
Okay.
So it's just kind of anywhere in that ballpark. The complexity of the case is going to really be the
price,
price
range.
range.
Yeah. And then time, I mean, I know also it takes time, but what's a ballpark figure on timing on that?
So again, most affirmative cases, especially if it's a family-based, usually about a year. If it's like a marriage-based, usually within 6 months to a year.
Okay.
But if it's a humanitarian, a U visa, bro, right now those are taking about 6-7 years. Those are very, very long. There's huge backlogs. And then you have the defensive side that, depending on the complexity, you're usually starting around, base is around 5,500 and it can go anywhere to,
Yeah.
I usually, it's very rare that I will go past 10,000. Very, very rare for me. But if we're going in those figures, it's like one of those cases that it's going to be years, and it's going to be a bunch of waivers, very, very complex issues. You have criminal history. You have,
there's a lot of work to be done, and a lot of time.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to the removal proceedings, I feel like that's where I pour. I pour my heart and soul to everything. But when it comes to the trials, man, like that's where, the old feeling that I used to get when I was playing soccer.
That's a competitive
man.
thing
Yeah,
with
man.
you, huh?
Like I love that, man. That's the one thing that when I'm in court, my heart's pumping. My heart is just, pounding. And
Bro, te ha tocado to be on the, I don't want to call it the losing end, but like the chewed out end, and like have you gotten that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably been the best experiences that have probably shaped me as an attorney. I had this one judge. She was based off of, I think, Louisiana, but she sat also in Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
But it was in the Fifth Circuit. And in the Fifth Circuit, they're not known to be immigration friendly. And it was my first time going there, and I probably was practicing maybe about a year or so. I had some experience, and I was doing pretty well in terms of approval rate. And when I went there here in Chicago, bro, like when you go to when you go to a court, it's always good morning, good morning. You're cordial, regardless of where your stance is on the case. You're cordial. So I did the same thing. I was like good morning. I think I was writing notes, and so they asked me to state my name, and I said good morning, Your Honor, Xavier Borjas, on behalf of the respondent. That's what we usually say. And as I was saying that, I didn't even get a chance
To finish?
say my name.
Oh.
So I said, good morning, and she's like, please stop. Like, she was screaming off the top of her lungs. But I was writing notes, so I thought, oh, there's some asshole on the phone.
Oh,
There's
like,
someone
please
talking.
stop doing whatever.
Yeah, like, she's pissed off because of somebody in the back.
Yeah.
Which, it happens. And so I'm like, oh, here we go. So I look up, and she's looking directly at me, and she's still screaming. So she's still screaming things that I'm still not comprehending because now I'm confused.
You're like looking back.
Yeah, it's me. Clearly,
Yeah.
I'm the problem. And
Wow.
when I finally realized what she was saying to me was that she didn't want me to say anything else other than what she asked for. So she didn't ask for
A good morning.
a good morning. She asked me what my name was. And so she's like, we're going to start over. We're going to go back on the record, and we're starting over. And we started over, and that's how we started. She was probably the worst judge I've ever experienced in terms of, it wasn't pleasant.
Yeah.
But she was also, to her credit, I called the clerk one time, and I was like, hey, what do I expect? And we were going to go to trial. Like, what do I expect with her? And she said to me, she's like, you better memorize every single document that you presented as evidence. It was like a 600-page case.
Oh, wow.
Which, that's pretty good. Sometimes we have more,
Okay.
1,300, 1,200 pages.
It's okay.
But it was about 600 pages, and she's like, you better memorize every single piece of, not just what evidence you presented. She said, you better memorize every page. And what she said to me was, because I promise you, she'll have it memorized. And I remember I was like, I was stressing out, bro. I was so freaked out. So the day before, from like 9 o'clock in the morning to like 9 o'clock at night, bro, I was memorizing every fucking page. Like I was writing notes, cheat codes, and everything. But I was on it.
Yeah.
I was on it. And that just became my standard, bro. Like now it's just like...
She kind of put it in
Yeah,
you, like
yeah.
just sin querer queriendo,
Yeah.
she just planted that seed.
It's been the best. It was the worst experience I ever had, but I was so, in terms of the preparation, but I was so prepared that day. At the end of the trial, like she was, I hated her, right? And she hated me because we were combating. But she was like, hey, after we were done, she's like, hey, thank you for being prepared. And that was nice. Like that was really
like the
cool.
reward, right?
Yeah.
That's
That I was
nuts,
prepared,
bro.
yeah. Like really prepared.
Yeah, we were just talking earlier right here. Antes de que se me olvide real quick, salud para Copa Cooper that came
Yeah.
today. We're talking about the competitive edge, man. And I imagine it's very similar to, I mean, I don't want to be like cliche, like, the soccer field, but that competitiveness though, like even with the own judge, obviously with the opposing people, like it's that little thing in the brain that makes it go. I like the fact that you shared the story with, starting off with your family. I have a lot of talks on the podcast about, I call it the man switch. Like, when does that switch turn on? I mean, I heard when it turned on for you.
Yeah.
Some takes longer. Some,
Yeah.
It's earlier. But I'm always very curious to hear that story of, male peers of when the man switch turned on. Because, there's a very famous quote, like something along the lines like, every man lives two lives, the one you're born with and then the one when you figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that, I can't get away from that one. It's so true. Once you figure it out, everything else doesn't matter. Like, you're just obsessed with your craft in your case, being 12-hour reading. I mean, that's an obsession. It's a passion.
It is,
And it's a competitive edge at the end.
Yeah. And you know what? For me, I think that when I wasn't doing it, even when I was trying to become a doctor and I was studying for that, I didn't have a passion for it. So when I was studying biology, I was just like, oh, man.
Yeah, renegando more
I
than
was like, I
anything.
really got to do this right now. And I would do it, but I wasn't in it.
Yeah.
But when it came to the legal field, man, I didn't know what I was doing, bro. Like, I had no clue. You know what I mean? And at least for me, like, I didn't feel prepared either. I didn't
Right.
feel academically prepared, and I wasn't, bro. Like I was already a little older going into law school. A lot of my peers were already, fresh out of undergrad. So you're talking 22, 23 years old. They looked at me like I was this old dude,
Right.
and understandably so. But when I would struggle on something, I mean, the amount of struggle that I saw myself going through in comparison to them was night and day. Oftentimes, I would be in the library. I would be in the library all day, bro. And maybe it was a competitive, or maybe it was an obsession. I don't know what it was, but it was literally the mentality of like, man, this is all I have. Like I can't. Again, I can't make an excuse of like I didn't try. So I was just trying. That was just me just trying. But when I would talk to them and they'd invite me to go out or just hang out outside of the library, I was like, I can't, man. Like I gotta study this. And they'd be like, well, how come you don't get it yet? Like these are the
Oh.
questions that they were asking me. Like, how come you not disrespectfully either? They were
Yeah,
real
yeah, yeah.
cool dude.
Like,
But
dude,
like,
you've been doing this for 10 hours. What's going
yeah,
on?
like
Yeah, yeah.
how come it hasn't clicked? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just struggling, bro. Like,
Yeah.
what? And like a lot of them would say, like, bro, this is like high school, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Dude? Didn't you go over this in high school? And I was like, no. Like, what fucking high
It's
school did you
crazy,
go
right?
to,
Where,
bro?
where did you go?
I went to Morney's
Yeah,
in
so more
Cicero.
than East.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that says a lot, not in a bad way, CPS on my end. But I do believe that we're very non prepared when it comes to going into college. It's like, bro, you didn't do this in, junior year. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, not at all. Like, it's just a lack of attention in school as well. Like.
Yeah, man. I struggled in undergrad, bro. I struggled in undergrad, and I think I started to develop like this inferiority complex as well. I think it was even like a race thing where unconsciously, I think that I was almost, I wouldn't say like hating my culture, hating, but I was the respect was losing. Like I was losing respect, or at the very least, developing animosity towards my culture, developing animosity towards my country, like the country of origin, because I
Yeah.
was upset unconsciously that how come I'm struggling like this, man? Like how come I don't get this? These other races, these other cultures, like they don't seem to be struggling. They seem to have their act together. Why am I struggling?
Oh,
How come
wow.
my family's struggling? It wasn't conscious. Like I wasn't talking like this.
No, no. But
But it wasn't until
somewhere in the back, huh?
I got to law school, bro. I got to law school, and one of my professors, um, he gave this story about this one Hispanic girl. She was Mexican girl. She passed away from cancer, so she developed cancer after her first year of law school. And the way he told the story, because he was real honest professor, he was like, "Listen, she wasn't a great student. She was subpar. Like she C student at best. She worked really hard just to get B at C, but she was a C student at best. But she got cancer, and she had like three kids from like three different fathers, or at least four kids from like two different fathers, something like that. Um, and he was telling the story about her, and he's like, man, but all she wanted to do was become an attorney. Like she really worked hard, but unfortunately, the cancer won and took her life, and so she didn't get to finish. And I remember hearing that story, bro. I went to my one bedroom apartment. Um, my family wasn't, my wife and my kid weren't there at the time, and I went there, and I was studying, bro, and I was just like thinking about that story, and I just fucking broke down, dude. Like I was bawling, like a little baby, bawling, but it was this crying of shame. Like I was so fucking ashamed of myself because that was like an embarrassment to me. Like the animosity that I had, like she was the animosity. Like she was the representation of the animosity that I had built that I unconsciously or at least subconsciously was developing without me knowing. And so then I was realizing, like, man, I'm fucking ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed of my culture. I'm ashamed of who I am, my people. Like, these are my fucking people. And instead of being proud that they do, regardless of the little that they fucking have, the little opportunities that they fucking have, they're still fucking fighting. Like, that's where I come from, right? That's what I have. And we're not just fucking idiots. We're not just these fucking ignorant fucking people. No, we're the complete opposite, bro. Like, we have tenacity. We have all of these fucking things. Regardless of how much everything is against us, we still go, bro. And after that, after me crying like that and realizing that, I was like, nah, like I'm never gonna do it again. And the pride that I have, not just for my culture and not just for my people. When I say my people, it is the immigrant community. I'm so fortunate and blessed enough to say that I have clients from all over the world, bro. I haven't traveled outside of the country since I was 12 years old.
Oh,
And I
wow.
feel like I've traveled
You know the whole
all
world,
over
huh?
the fucking world, bro. Like I know so much about so many different cultures and so many different countries because of all the different clients that have put their trust in me, bro. Like it's not just because of the color of my skin that they're coming to me. You know what I mean? I can appreciate that. I love that. But because of that, I know that we're all the same, bro. We all have the same disadvantages when you're coming in here.
Right.
Another thing that I would say to the community, especially people that are just coming in, is
Yeah, yeah.
do not come in here thinking that it's gotta be X, Y, and Z, man. Like this life, first of all, is not. There's no antidote for this life, and the same thing for this country. There's no antidote of how to make it or how to live life.
Right. There's not a blueprint. to
No,
it.
man.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. If you ask me now, after all of my struggles, after everything that I've ever gone through so far, the two most important things to me in my life, one is my health. Like that's important to me. And two is my family, bro. Like my family, my friends, the people that I care about, that's the most important thing. There's nothing else that really matters to me as much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I God forbid you take everything away from me and you put me in a 1-bedroom shack again. Like I used to be disappointed in myself because I couldn't afford a bed. When I look back at those times, bro, those were beautiful fucking memories, man. My daughter remembers those memories. I used to be ashamed that my daughter remembered those memories, but she doesn't
Right.
look at them
Like
with disappointment.
in those eyes, yeah.
We used to cuddle and be together. You know what I mean? Like we were like this when we were watching movies. When we were eating dinner, we were together. Everything we did was together.
Yeah.
There's nothing more important than that, bro. There's nothing more important, in my opinion, than that family and
Yeah.
that camaraderie.
Dude, the irony behind that, man, right? Like the fact that, you didn't want your daughter to remember, you saying that just means like, no había pa más. Lo único que había era familia, Lo único que había era sentarnos en el piso, poner el iPad y abrazar a tu hija.
Yeah.
Maybe you inside were like, fuck, man.
fucking terrible.
Yeah. And she was like the happiest ever, bro,
Yeah.
And then you look back now, and that's the beauty to that,
Yeah.
bro. And yeah, man, I think in life the simplest things are the things that we take for granted. Obviously, it's said, everyone says it, but you look back. Obviously, now that we're older, and we always go back to the old times. We always remember. Oh, back then. Same thing with food. Same thing with music.
Yeah.
Una canción te va a acordar a tu familia, tu papá, tu mamá. Una comida te va a recordar a tu mamá. Es lo old times, broke times take you back to the struggle and to appreciating the little that we didn't have, man. Because now, thankfully we have more, and sometimes even that we take for granted now too. That's a great story, bro. Thank you for
man.
sharing that
No,
one,
thank
man.
you, brother. And in all honesty, man, I think it kind of goes to what I would hope that I stand for, and what I would hope that the general public understands, bro. Like it's not just the immigrants, but it's also the non-immigrants, the people that don't understand that. Hopefully, people do understand that, bro. Like it's not just criminals that are coming in. Like it's
Right.
not just the rapists and the pieces of shit just coming in and presenting themselves, man. That's not it. Like these people, unfortunately, because they do come from all over the world, unfortunately, they have really bad circumstances that they're going
Yeah,
through, bro.
it's
Like,
not just Mexicans.
no,
bro. Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
and it's everywhere.
And that's
It's
a misconception,
everywhere.
though, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, immigrants are the Mexicans right away.
Or the
it's everywhere.
Hispanics. No,
Yeah,
it's
the Hispanics.
everywhere,
Yeah,
bro. You're getting it from everywhere, bro.
correct.
You gotta understand that, at least in my opinion, bro. Like, I would not live in any other country than the United States, bro. I think the United States is the best country in the entire world.
1,000%.
And so, that being said, bro, you don't think everybody's gonna want to come here?
Of course.
You know, everyone wants to come here, and
Of
it's
course.
not just the criminals, it's not just the bad people. But there is a disadvantage, man. Like if you went to another country where you don't speak the language, you don't understand the system, that's hard on that person, man. That's hard on that person. That's not only that, but even if you have U.S. citizen children here that the immigrant had, they think that some people think that it's just that's either that child might have an expectation, or they should be a certain way, or now they should make it because
Right.
they're
Because
here.
they're
now.
here.
No, man, like it's not that, bro. It's not that. This is a hard system, and again, going back full circle, you have an immigrant that doesn't know anything from this country. What can, not in a bad way, but like what can you teach this child about this country? It's very hard, bro. There's some people that get lucky, and there's people that work that hard to make it happen, and God bless them, and I praise them.
Yeah.
My hat off to them, but it's not the majority. That's not.
I
the
mean,
norm.
for sure, being born in the United States or being raised as a child. I mean, we're put in our starting line is a little bit better than other countries, right? That's the one thing I've always said before. Like our parents coming here, what wasn't necessarily for them to have a better life because they got here and worked. It was to give us a better head start, I guess you could say. And even then, like you said, there's no blueprint. Doesn't mean that, bro, we're all gonna fail. It matters what your reaction is to that failure. For you falling down, getting up, and all the cliches that you hear out there. Por algo se hacen los dichos,
Yeah.
It's not just because they're gonna say it. Everybody goes through the struggle, and everybody handles it a different way. I love the fact that you kind of like push yourself on a daily basis. Do you think it's like a little bit like imposter syndrome? Like,
I for sure went through that. Bro.
Yeah, right? It
sure.
kind of sounds like it.
People, and it's funny because there's certain conferences that I've gone through, or certain mentors that I've talked to. When I tell them this stuff, and some will be like, "Man, I have no idea why you feel that way," or like that's weird. But then there are some that can relate, and they're like, "That exactly what you said. It's an imposter syndrome."
Yeah.
And maybe it is, bro. I think that the nice thing is, I used to hate that part about myself too. I used to say like, man, I wish I didn't have that. But I think that's what keeps this nice balance. But it's also the other part of it, which I tell a lot of my interns, a lot of people that are trying to become attorneys. The other part of it is learning to be comfortable being uncomfortable, bro. Like that's a fucking beautiful thing. You know how hard that was? I used to struggle with nasty anxiety, bro. Before I went to law school, dude, I would just be thinking about the craziest shit, like in my mind, just like this. Anxiety, like
making up the rest of the
dumbest
hours,
thing,
right?
It could be issues with my girlfriend, my wife. You know what I mean? Like at the time, my girlfriend, now wife, like my kids. I could be like just anxiety, like nonstop, just overthinking, dude.
Yes.
Not going. I couldn't sleep because of the anxiety.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The anxiety that I wouldn't say was self-induced.
Yeah, self-induced, totally.
What was nice about going to law school for me and saying like I'm not gonna fail, I'm not gonna fuck this up, at least for lack of effort, was that it kind of started occupying my mind, right? Like it occupied my mind. So that was nice. But then it was also me stepping into the unknown, man. Like I don't know what the trial's gonna, like I have trial coming up in August. I don't know what that's gonna happen.
You've never had done it, or whatever, yeah.
I've had a lot of trials, bro. Like I have the experience, but that trial is not the same as the other trials, bro.
Correct.
It's a completely different case,
Okay.
completely different judge, completely different trial attorney. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be prepared as best as possible to my ability, and I'm gonna make sure I'm there. But there's gonna be things that might happen, bro. Like I've had situations where the client says something that you're like, what?
Yeah, like whoa.
Yeah, or it goes south, or like they say something they shouldn't have said, and now we're like going. It just went full circle. If I freak out, what good am I? I have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable. So I'm learning. I like that part of me. Like I'm learning to be uncomfortable, and I'm learning to be, because it's not just my career that I feel like I take that with me, bro. It's also just life. I don't know what's gonna happen tonight, brother.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
But and if we can let go of that and just be comfortable being uncomfortable, and then just experience life, experience what happens,
and then also just live the moment, man. Even
You're
if
more
you
present.
knew, like there's only so much you can do about it.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. But I like that.
I met this one potential client yesterday, bro. She was really, really cool. I actually told some of my coworkers as well. She came in, she had glasses. She had just like this movie star vibe. And she was disclosing a bunch of stuff that I was like, man, I have no idea how you're still here. She's a resident. And in my mind, and I even told her, I was like, you are by far the luckiest person. Like everything that you said, you shouldn't be here. Like you should. And she's traveling, bro. Like she's traveling back and forth like nothing. And she's just, it's not a front. you can just tell that she has this zen thing about her, where she's just like, this is just who I am. Her husband was like, man, if I had 5% of luck of what she had, man, I would be, I would be a millionaire right now.
Yeah.
I'd be like, but there is something about that attitude, man. Like, from my experience with my caseload, I have about 80% of my clients that just put all the trust in me, which I love. I appreciate that. 80% put all their trust in me. And then you have a 20% that are just freaking out, man. Like, they're just like this. And so it's not
Yeah.
that they don't trust me, because they obviously gave me the case, but they're like,
They're also
and what's this?
self-inducing
And what's going on?
themselves.
And what about my case? And
Yeah.
it's almost like, I don't know, right? Like, I don't know what's going on in the world, but it's almost like they just call it in, but they're the ones that are stressing themselves out. They're the ones that are, and their case tends to be the more complex ones, or the more delayed ones, where the other ones that are just like, you got to call them.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, by the way,
They're chilling. They're just like, yeah. Like, hey, you remember you still have a case? Oh, yeah. I'll get back to you. And then they just go smooth. For whatever reason, theirs just goes smooth, and they're just comfortable with the unknown, man. And the ones that aren't just tend to be, again, like you said, you can only do so much. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do right now?
And then luck is also like a factor, bro. Like, sometimes you gotta be at the right time, at the right spot, and everything. Yeah. Luck is a little bit of a factor in life in general, man.
In general, that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true, man. I think I look back at, I think that's one of the biggest reasons. Maybe we all probably, at least for me, I can't speak to everybody. I think that we all have this sense of judgment, right? Like, we judge people in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
We choose our friends, who we hang out with, et cetera, our circle. There's always going to be that sense of judgment. It's also a survival, and it's a necessity, I think, for the most part. But I try not to judge people in terms of I'm in a better position or not. And a lot of the times it's because I stop and look at my childhood, where I come from, and it's like, bro, I was lucky too. You know what I mean? Like, I did work hard, and I did do certain things, but there's a lot of things that I could have gone somewhere else.
You could have gone left fast.
Real fast.
Yep.
And so I don't take that for granted. And there's another reason that I try not to judge other people and where other people are in lives for that same reason, bro. Because I have to love you, love my brother, my sister, everyone, because, bro, I'm no different. We're all in the same boat. We're all going and playing this game called life. That
Correct.
You have no idea what's gonna come your way, bro.
Yep.
No idea.
I agree, man. And love is a big, another huge factor in life. It's probably one of the best problem-solving things there is, to be honest.
Yeah,
when it comes to it.
I agree, bro.
Right?
I agree, man. It's one of those things right now that I feel like I'm really trying to put more effort in.
Okay.
Like, I really, really want to be that guy that just is filled with love and just filled with compassion. I wish I can say I'm there, bro. I know I'm not. I know I have a long way to go. Even just this week, bro, I texted my wife. I'm like, man, I gotta do something, bro, because I'm getting pissed at people cutting me off right now. I'm getting frustrated. My kids, I come home, my kids are fucking screaming, and I'm just like, oh, bro, like, what's going on right now? So I need a lot of work and a lot of help, but at the end of the day, like, that's what I truly believe, man. Like, if we really could just be a little bit more compassionate towards one another for that same reason, bro.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? For that same reason. And I've heard this too. Even Dave Chappelle, like, I went to one of his comedy shows, and he was talking about this too, bro. He was talking about how Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Chris Rock was like fucking with him, and then Dave Chappelle got attacked. And long story short, he was basically saying, like, I am Will Smith. Like, I understand him. Like, when you're at whatever he was going through,
Right.
like, whatever caused him to do that and to slap someone, like, that doesn't mean that you're free from that. You know what I mean? Like, I am that, bro. Like, I don't know his circumstances, so I understand that. So I think that I'm trying to acknowledge that I am you. I am, my friend. I am my brother. Like, I am my mom. I am that, bro, because they are a representation of every intricacy, every little thing that they have gone through. That's what has it's amounted to that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not a bad thing. It may not be your thing, but it's a life, bro. It's a world.
It's a person.
It's a person, bro. And to me, every single person is a miracle, bro. Every single person is a miracle.
Every adult that's out there fucking screaming at you at road rage, that guy used to be
They're
a
going
baby.
through something, bro.
You know, everyone's everyone's someone's son, someone's daughter. Bro, I am the chillest guy, bro. I don't have road rage, man. I'm a big believer of love. Honestly, I am. I'm a big believer of positivity. I do believe that, whatever you... I tell people, this is not a front, man. Like, positive, así como dicen, que lo negativo es contagioso. También lo positivo, bro.
Yeah.
That energy, positive people. Like, I do get rid of negative people, man. I don't want anything to do with them, because it does mess up the positive vibe. Like, it just, you have to be in a certain zone and you start filtering out the people that are just not it,
Yeah.
and attitudes and, a smile doesn't hurt. It goes a long way, man.
It does.
It goes a long way. So I'm a big believer of love, positivity. And that's what this is all about too, man. I want to, bring your guests in and be informative and be positive and showcase your career and their career and let everyone know that everything is possible.
Yeah.
And, you tell us your battles with, with fear, like, or your battles with every day, in a sense, putting yourself down only to be able to get back up because you know that you can, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what you're programmed in a way to. Maybe since you were that 13-year-old guy with the little shag that I remember, right? Maybe to now, it's a daily thing that you programmed yourself from back then. It could have been your peers, it could have been your parents, whoever, right? But you program yourself to like bring yourself down only to bring yourself up stronger, And that's not everyone has the mental capacity for that. I think. Thankfully, you do. I'm one of those guys, man.
Yeah.
I always kick myself in the ass every day. I've always kind of blamed it on my dad, to be honest. I'll say it here. I think that it's a little bit of my dad syndrome where you're just, you're never good enough.
Yeah.
The congrats. And, my dad, you could beat a team 10-0 and you're going to come out and he's going to be mad because they're like, they were so bad. Why didn't you score 20?
Right.
And you're just like, it's never enough.
Yeah.
But like you said, like for me, it wasn't a downer. For me, it's like, well, he's right. Why wasn't it 20?
Yeah.
I suck. I should be doing, so that's kind of like my life thing now, like almost similar to kicking myself down every day, but only because I know that I can bring myself up. So, I mean, if you're that person out there that, you do feel down, but just come up, man. You can do it. Like it's all mind. It's all mental thing, and get to it, bro. Because no one's gonna help you. Like people are gonna feel for you, but no one's gonna help you for a long time. They might help you out a day or two, but it's all on you, And that's you, man. That's you picking it up and getting that man switch on once you already did have your wife and your child, and it's like, man, I gotta do this. All my chips are in this, y aquí le voy a dar y a ver qué.
Yeah, and you know what, bro? Like, I appreciate what you said, man. One of the biggest reasons I appreciate it too is because what I learned through my experience, and I think that you have this factor that you're saying, because you're saying like you have that too, and you do. Like I see you, but I think the one thing that if we have this in common is that the reason you're able to build yourself up is because, in my opinion, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because this is what I feel about myself, is you learn to love yourself, right? Like, you've had to learn to love yourself. And, bro, I had to learn to love myself. Like, I fucking hated myself. You have to understand that, right? Like, I had to learn that, bro. Like, I despised who I was, whether it was consciously or unconsciously. I fucking hated myself, bro. I was disappointed in who I was. I was disappointed in my culture. I was just disappointed in my ethnicity and who, where I came from. And when all of that was torn down, and then I had to realize that all the things that I thought were negative and all the things that I thought were bullshit were actually good for me, or were actually the things that made me, and I could forgive myself and I could love myself. That's what allowed it, the forgiveness of myself to just be like, bro, you're not perfect, dude. Like, you have to live life like everybody else. And so you're going to make mistakes. Right? I still fuck up to this day. I try to minimize those as much as I possibly can, but if I can't forgive myself and just be kind to myself and love myself, it's never gonna fucking happen, bro. Like, you're never gonna be able to build yourself back up. you need something to build back up. And going back to that love factor for me, like I need to be able to love myself. I beat myself down a lot, but on Sunday or on Saturday or even on fucking Friday, I try to be, fuck, you did pretty good in that court, and you were on it in court, bro. You know what I mean? Like you were good, or
Yeah.
you got that, you got that case. No one wanted to take that case. You took it. You helped that person out, or whatever it is. That little thing, like,
Yep.
it's okay to build yourself up again, bro. Be kind to yourself. Love yourself. I hope to do it even to the ones that you do want to push out. Like I get that, bro. I know that you said that you try to push people away, and I get that, bro. It's a common thing, at least for me, and I hear it a lot in my family. I would really love to be in a place where I understand maybe not putting myself in a situation where it's going to be negative, right? Like if I know people are going to be doing bad things to themselves or bad things to others, like I'm not going to put myself in that situation, but
Right.
I would love to be in a situation or get to the point mentally to be able to still express love to those people as well.
Yep,
You know
yep,
what I
yep.
mean? If I can get there,
Toast to that, bro.
yeah,
That was great. I like that. I didn't think about it that way, but you're absolutely right, bro. The fact that you have to love yourself in order to be able to bring yourself up. I honestly didn't think about that, like in that sense. But you're absolutely right.
It's easy to hate yourself, bro. At least for me, it was.
I think that once you get into your brain, I call these like mental parasites, negative parasites, bro. All it takes, bro, let's be honest. Like, I know anybody that listens or watches this is going to sit there and just shake their head. Yeah, because everyone goes through this in life where you just let one negative thought in, and that one negative thought becomes a fucking, a goddamn movie, bro.
Yeah.
Like, when you're young, you have a girlfriend, and you think that and it's just a movie. Like, all of a sudden, you already figured out what's going on. Nada que ver. It's just like that mental negative parasite that you let in. It takes time to learn how to not let them in or clear them out. And that does come with love, man. I didn't see it in that sense, but I mean, bro, I disliked myself for always being like a heavier set guy. I was never happy with myself. I honestly, right now that you brought it up, I really can't think when it was that I don't want to say forgave myself, but when I accepted myself, I guess you could say, right? Maybe it was when I was out on stage and the affirmation from the crowd where it's like, okay, well now I'm someone, being that I'm not just a fucking fat
Still love you for
teenager.
who you
Yeah.
were.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was, but love for sure.
Well, I think it was that, bro. Like at least from my experiences, and maybe you can attest to this. I think it was you loved yourself enough, or at least you thought of yourself a certain way enough to be on stage. Like you put me on stage right now, I'm gonna be like this.
Right.
But you, for whatever reason, had the confidence. Call it whatever you want, the confidence.
Whatever
the love.
it is, yeah.
But you had something to put yourself on stage, and then you performed, and that's what it was. It wasn't how you looked. It was what you were producing, what
Correct.
you were doing.
Yep.
Bro, like you could be skinny, you could be heavy, whatever. I was skinny as shit, man.
Yeah, you were a thin dude, yeah.
Dude, I was skinny. I remember I used to back in the day they used to wear the I'll never forget this. They used to, the undershorts or the
Like the biker shorts
like the
kinda thing?
biker shorts
Yeah.
underneath the
regular shorts? Yeah.
And that was like the thing. I was like 12 years old. That was the thing to do, bro. Like you had style if you can pull that off. But I had little ass fucking thighs, dude. I couldn't find a pair.
Oh, that would, like, fucking cling
fit
on
me,
your
dude.
leg?
And like I had teammates, bro. They were assholes and be like, look,
Like, what are you
on the
wearing,
side, be
boxers?
Like, hey, bro, this guy is like his fucking shit doesn't even cover his leg.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
yeah.
even hug his leg, bro. It doesn't matter, dude. Like
Yeah.
you can look a certain way. You can your physical appearance does not mean shit, bro.
It doesn't, bro.
You know what I mean? But how you view yourself and how you look at yourself, and then that positivity, that's gonna be everything, man.
Yeah.
And then I did want to share this story with you, bro.
Yeah.
My grandfather, just kind of thinking about like negativity and positivity.
Yeah.
Perspective, brother. Like perspective. It's all about perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah.
My grandfather used to always, he used to fuck with me, dude. He used to fuck with me all the time, and I used to think he was the biggest asshole. God rest his soul. Like, when I was a little kid, my brother, he's 6 years older than me. So my older brother, his birthday is June 24th, and my dad's was June 23rd. And I hope I'm not getting those wrong, because if they hear this, they'll be like, "What the fuck, bro?"
Yeah.
And so as a result, they would always have a birthday party together. That was because it was my dad's birthday and his birthday, so they would always have it together.
Yep.
And mine was March, and depending on the weather, I may or may not have a birthday party, right? Because it's cold.
Yeah.
Bro, we can't do it outside. But it was June. Like most times, you're having a fucking cookout. You're chilling. Everyone would get together. So growing up, I would see him have birthday parties. Mine was hit or miss,
Yeah.
right?
Tú a veces sí, a veces no.
Yeah, that's how it was. Don't tell my mom, like, 'cause my mom's gonna be like, "Get the fuck out of here." We always
Like
get
you had it
birthday-
every year.
every year. But with my brother it was for sure. It was a for sure thing, no matter what. Because my dad was gonna have a party, and my brother was gonna be right there. And so my brother, whenever they would have parties, they would have gifts, right? It was natural. My brother's he's still a child, so they would have gifts for him as well. And I would like, bro, I was 6 years old, 5 years old, 4 years old. I would cry, bro.
Yeah, you were
like,
in your
what
feelings,
about
bro.
me, bro? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I was a sensitive ass kid, bro. I was sensitive, dude. And my grandfather, bro, I'll never fucking forget. He would always be like, yeah, para Carlos y para Juan, yeah, saludos, saludos, you know, whatever. And then he'd be like, y los regalos? Boom. They would take them out. Okay. Para Carlos. And so he would have a gift. ¿Y para quién? Para Juan. Y luego he would say, ¿y para Javier? Puro cuerno. Like, that was his saying, bro. And every time he would fucking say it, I would fucking cry on cue, bro. I would be like, boom, just break down, bro. And it was every fucking year. And we have, like, videos now, like, recordings, like, you know, the VHS shit, or, like, even just pictures, and you see me crying, and you see him just, like, doing this, or him just laughing, like, he loved it. And growing up, bro, like, I used to see that as a trauma, right? Like, I used to be like, man, this fucking dude, bro.
Like a trigger you to something, yeah.
What? Like, I was a little kid, bro. Like, I wouldn't do that to my kid. But I love that memory, bro. Like, and for me, it's almost like a success story. Like, you can look at that in that way in terms of the world, bro. The world might look at you like and be like, and this guy, Carlos, puro cuerno, bro. Like, that's what you're going to get. And you can look at it and be like, fuck, bro. You can sit there and cry, and you can sit there and be like, yeah, that's what I got, man. Like, this is what the cards played. Or you can just fight through that. And now for me, it's like a joke, bro. Like, it's not just a joke, but it's a motivation for me. Now it's like, if it's puro cuerno, like, okay, but give me that and let me fucking push forward. Let me get that and let me make something out of that. Whatever it is that you gave me. Let's just go. If I ever build anything, it's gonna be off of that, bro. It is off of puro cuerno. Like, give me that, bro, and let's just move forward. But as long as I don't lose that mentality, bro, just moving forward, bro, just moving forward with whatever it is that may come through, because you have no fucking clue what's gonna happen, bro. Tragedy will happen in your life. To think that it will not happen in your fucking life, you're wrong, bro.
Right.
It can happen to us. It can happen to our kids. It can happen to, God forbid, anyone.
Yeah.
Tragedy will happen.
To the richest, to the poorest,
exactly.
It don't matter.
It's life is gonna happen, bro.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get that cuerno.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's what you do with it, man. Like, you can either keep moving forward and try to figure out how to move forward, or you can just sit back and let life just pass you by, bro. And I really pray that for myself, I pray that I have the right people around me to never let me lose that sense of life. And I pray that I can always give that to the people around me too, bro, because we need that. I can't do this on my own. There may be a time where I'm gonna want to give up and maybe be like, you know what, fuck that. But I'm praying and hoping that I have the people around me to support me and push me through, to be like, come on, man, we gotta keep going, bro. Yeah. Let's go. It does take a community, man. We need that support.
And out of all the factors, that we've been hitting on, that's another factor, bro. And I'm glad that you brought it up, because right in the beginning, I shouted out the team, because once you do get by the cuerno, in this sense, you start also understanding the importance of your team and the importance of the people surrounding you. And by the team, it doesn't necessarily mean your work team. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Family, wife, kid. I mean, you name it. You know what your team is, and the importance of it goes a long way as well. It goes. Whatever you do, you're only doing it because of them. Not because of them, but because of them. And that's another thing that I think a mature mind, I guess you could say, goes into everything, saying or thinking and knowing success doesn't come, fast or by yourself. You gotta be able to build a team that's gonna also believe in what you're pitching. You know?
Yeah.
And they gotta believe in the same dream that you got.
100%, bro. And even success, bro. Like success, that's
That's such a like loose term.
it is,
No?
bro.
Your definition of success could be way different than mine.
Yeah.
And for the people that do watch and hear, their definition of success could be just financially.
Right.
I'll tell you right now, it's not for me.
No.
It's not. Thankfully, bro, we do things that we love and we're passionate about. I'm not rich at all.
Same.
Well, I'm actually wealthy
In love.
in love,
Yeah,
bro.
for sure.
I'm wealthy in the things that I love. I'm wealthy in my family. I thank the gods. I'm a big plural kind of guy. I have both of my parents still with me. That alone goes a long way in my heart. I have my best friend producing all of my podcasts. You know what it is like. Love. Honestly, it goes a long way, and it just shows with whatever it is that your craft is, whatever your career is, and they all support whatever we do.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it, bro, at least from my experience, it's the harder option, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like choosing love and choosing that is hard. At least for me, bro. Like it's a lot of work for me.
Okay.
Like I can't just naturally love everybody. I can't just naturally be, it's work for me. Like I have to work on that.
I agree.
Like sometimes I'm so fucking overwhelmed, so fucking overstimulated. I go home and I have 4 kids that are right? And I could look at sometimes I'm like, even though they're like, Daddy, and sometimes it's a great feeling, but there are moments where I'm like,
Damn, not right now.
bro, like it's right here. I'm like, fuck. And as shitty as that may sound, but it's the truth, right? It's my truth. That I have to work for that. I have to work to be able to bring that love back out because the world wants to fucking bring that down for whatever reason, whether it is the world or whether it is self-induced, whatever it may be, but it seems like it's a harder thing for me. And I think that that's true for anything, bro. Anything worth anything, you have to work for it, bro. Like if you want a plant, right? You got to put in work in that plant, bro. If you want your marriage to succeed, you got to put in work in that marriage. If you want to be happy or to love yourself, you have to put in work to love yourself.
Yeah.
There's not anything at least as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing that exists that you can do without putting that work, man. And it's going to feel hard. For me, everything that I've ever tried to work at, I'm not good at naturally. Right? Like I have to fucking put in this effort. So if you don't put in this effort in certain things and you're questioning why certain things aren't going your way or questioning why this, why that, and for me the same goes for love, bro. Like it is so much easier for me to be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Right? You say that one thing that I didn't like and I'm like, you know what? I'm
Dismissing this guy, yeah.
I'm done. But it's if I can work through that and say, okay, maybe I didn't like what you said, maybe I didn't appreciate what you said, but maybe I can understand it. Right? Maybe I can put a little more effort into it and find out where are you coming from? Why are you saying these things? And when you experience that, bro, like my wife did that for me, right? Like my wife took the time to understand me. And so experiencing that, man, it was a beautiful thing that when I finally understood that someone can do that for me, and then when you try to do that for others, like it's hard, right? Because there's things that I said to her that she didn't like, right? There's things that I disclosed to her that she didn't like. But when she still loved me and still accepted me, I mean, what beats that, bro? Like nothing beats that, bro. And then I'm like, oh shit, I'm not the piece of shit I thought I was.
Right.
I'm not that bad.
Yeah. Again, you overthought it in a sense, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that takes a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy, man. It takes a lot of like, you said it best earlier when you're like, you put yourself in their position or in their shoes. It's not easy. I mean, it's the biggest thing. Oh, put yourself in my shoes, and then you just blow it off. Yeah. But really, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Everyone's got a life, and everyone's got shit going on. So I mean, I 1,000% agree with that part, bro.
Which is why I love immigrants for that reason. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I love immigrants for that reason because we are experiencing something new. Like we experience something new that we're trying to figure this thing out together. and it's easy to, at least from my experience, it's easy to disregard certain cultures, certain people,
Right.
because you just want to like, hey, it's just about me. It's just about me. Like I'm trying to make it. We're all trying to make it. Let's just jump into the rat race. I think that if we change our perspective as a community, bro, I think that we can do so much more, man. We can help each other out. We can, and it's not. I'm not trying to single or exclude anyone. No, 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 no. Like people that have had generations here, like it's the same thing, bro. Like we're all, things are still happening that are new. Like if you would have told me when I was 18 years old that we were gonna have phones like this is crazy, bro. Like the technology is crazy. We're all experiencing something new, whether you have generation upon generation, or whether you just came in yesterday. We're still experiencing something new on a regular basis.
Yep.
So if we can actually create a community and we can actually help each other and support each other, I think that we're and just understand that it's, again, going back to success. Like figure out what success is for you, not just as a general sense. Like if we can do that, I think that we would all be so much happier, bro.
Yeah, not only as a fucking bank figure,
Right.
whatever, really analyze what makes you happy, and then that's actually your success story right there.
Right.
I used to, back in high school, you have the people that say like, whatever job it is, just do a great job, and you're gonna enjoy it. I'm like, bro, I didn't want to work at McDonald's. Now you think about it, like at the end of the day, you just gotta really find something that you really do have a passion for, and it's not gonna seem like work. And you're gonna be great.
But
at
even
it.
then, bro, like even if you're not working in something that you don't have a passion for,
right?
that is not your identity, though.
No, it's not.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
like, if you don't have a passion for that, you find something that you do have a passion for. So, find a hobby or put that passion into your kids, into your family, into your spouse, into whatever it is. If you find something worth living for, like, then that's all that matters.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, God forbid, like, if I can't practice law tomorrow, like, I really hope that I'm not gonna change as a person just because I'm not an attorney anymore. Like, this is not my identity. My identity is who I am, right? Like, and who I am. This is one thing, man. I've gone to so many different conferences where they're like, in 3 words, describe who you are. And I hear fucking people in 3 words, oh, I'm this, I'm that, and that. And in my head, I'm like, bro, you can do that in 3 fucking words? Like, I feel like I'm a lot more fucking complex than 3 fucking words, bro.
Hell yeah.
Like, how much time do you have so we can really, go through this?
Can I hyphenate these fucking words?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I need a fucking novel to be able to tell my fucking story. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's how everyone should fucking think, though.
Yeah.
And I hope that my title is not what's giving me this whatever it is, right? Like, no, it's me and my experiences and what I've gone through. And knowing who I am and knowing what is important to me and what are my loves and what are my passions, regardless of my fucking title, regardless of what I do.
Yep.
Right? So.
Hey, Bear. Brother, where can these people find you, man? Like, what's the easiest way to, where can they look you up?
So, I think the best way would be calling the office or shooting an email. Even if you want to stop by, man, we try to take care of as many people as we possibly can.
Yeah.
We only have so many people on staff, but my phone number is 312-788-2783.
Okay.
That's usually the best way to contact.
Where's your office located at?
Right now, we're located at 150 South Wacker Drive.
Okay.
On the 24th floor in Chicago, Illinois. It's right across the street from the Willis Tower.
Okay.
And that's probably the best way, man. People can stop by if they want. We'll always attend anyone that walks in. You might not get a consultation that day, depending on where I'm at, if I'm in, have meetings or not. But we'll make sure to take care of you. I urge people because thankfully we are growing, and so it is busy. And man, if we can answer every single call, we try. You know what I mean? And sometimes there's this lack of communication where people call, we call back, they don't answer, or they don't have their voicemail set up. You'd be surprised how many people do not have their voicemail set up, and so they're like, "I never got a call back." And it's like, we've been trying to call you back, or they can email me. You can go on the website at www.borjaslawgroup.com, and any possible way, man. Whether you have my cell phone or not, office, email, my door will always be open to anyone, and I offer free consultations. and I do that intentionally. I think that with my level of expertise, I really do feel like I can charge for consultations, right?
Right.
And no knock on people that charge.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
not
yeah.
a knock on anybody, but this is me in how I see things. One of the biggest reasons that I offer free consultations, I would go as far as to say like 50%, if not more, of the consultations that I do, if I have 50 consultations a week, 50% of those are a waste of time, man. 50% of those, at least 50%, meaning there's nothing fruitful from there. There's no business there.
Okay.
Financially, there's absolutely no business there.
Yeah.
So I can see that as a negative thing, right? Like I'm losing my time, I'm wasting my time, etc. I get so many people that come to me and will say, I've already gone to other attorneys. They told me that I don't qualify for a benefit. You're my fourth, you're my third, or my second even. But what I love is even if I am their fourth, fifth, I tend to be their last. Like I hope to have the reputation that I am very well qualified and I'm going to tell you the truth.
Right.
And that's it's going to be it. So if you don't qualify, you don't have to go to another one after me. I'm
Yeah,
going
there's
to
not
tell
going to be
you.
a doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you do, I'm also going to tell you. And it's like this, man. I really try to have my consultations very much like this, man. You know what I mean? Where it's just a conversation.
Right.
It's a conversation. Hopefully, it's a conversation with an experienced, well-qualified attorney, immigration attorney. So when you're seeking that, I'm hoping that I'm giving you that. But it is a conversation, man. I don't try to act like I'm someone else or talk like I'm something else. I keep my professionalism, but it's just me being me, man. Like I'm just trying. But so that's my way of giving back to the community. If you have doubt, I want to ease that doubt for you. If you need to know, I want to be able to give you the confidence to be like, whether that's a
Right.
yes or whether it's a no.
You're right.
So that's why I do the free consultations, man.
A transparent answer, man.
Yeah.
A lo que es.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, man, I have no issues at all with doing this every now and then with you. More because the Positiva podcast to me is 1,000% informative. More because I'm sick and tired of our people, our community, our culture. It's not their fault, but just being more. We're all ignorant. I said it earlier, right? I just want somebody to come on here as yourself to just be honest and inform the people what they need to know. I would love to have you back, every 3-4 months, depending on your schedule. But just, even when we chit chat hour and a half, I just want to have more experiences. I want to hear more stories. I want people to know more of you. For me, it's just like I imagine you seeing these people walk in for the first time to your office with the scared eyes. And then at the end of a year, 2 year, whatever the process is, with eyes full of hope, and dreams coming true for them and everything, and that must be a insane experience for you to be able to witness that firsthand and to be part of that dream, because in a sense they're letting you be part of that dream to make them fulfill something that they want, forever. So that takes a special person, man. I'm glad it's
Thank
you.
brother.
I'm glad I know you. I'm glad that we're still connected in some way or another. Like I said earlier, thank you very much, man.
No, thank you, brother.
I don't know if you want to express any, unos saludos, any shout-outs to anybody in particular before we finish
my
as well.
compadre Coop, who accompanied us. I
Coop.
appreciate you, brother. He's
Future guest of Con Puros Compas, Coop.
Yeah,
Little soccer action.
No, honestly, for me, man. First of all, thank you for your kind words, man. Like it's a pleasure to know you, and it's a privilege to be here as well, man. And even just to invite me to come here and spend time with me, dude. Like that's
Of course,
to
bro.
me that's an honor, bro.
course.
So thank you, brother, and thank you for your kind words. And as far as shout outs go, man, just to all of my family and my friends. I mean, I think they all know who they are.
Right.
So I appreciate everyone for the support and for the love. And I hope to continue to always do what I can for the community, man. Like that's really what I want to do. And so whenever you invite me, brother, I'll make the time, man. And
For sure, bro.
So
Let's make it a thing. We'll do it right here. I'll tell my compa, we'll schedule 3-4 months. I mean, especially with elections coming up and everything. I just, man, it irks me. It pisses me off to just see people believe everything. And I get it, man. I mean, we've been there, our household and everything. Pero si podemos hacer cualquier pendejadita que podamos hacer nosotros para poder informar a la gente, this is how it is. This is what you should do. This is, transparently, this is what it is. Yeah. Not because we're the fucking, not because you're, like we talked about earlier, a guy that just wants to make a quick buck. And no. This is the way it is, bro. Yeah. And this is what I want, and I want the people to know. So hopefully it helps somebody out, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much for being part of my first La Positiva podcast.
It's an honor, brother. Thank you.
My compa Fry, thank you very much, compa, for everything. Para toda la gente que está ahí, subscribe, check us out. I hope you guys enjoy it. There's going to be a lot of these. I always say read a book. I know people don't like reading books. Fucking listen to an Audible at least, brother. Do something, man. We got to keep doing it. We got to keep progressing. We got to let that mind work, man. La pura positiva, viejones. Ya se la saben. Ahí estamos. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.